have you struggled with being able to stick to some sort of a program? Let's say an eating program where you have to be disciplined and follow something for whatever reason. It could be a health concern that you've had to now all of a sudden switch, or it's been like, oh, you want to change your body, your weight, your appearance, whatever, and you've had a hard time sticking to it. Food addiction, that's my area, and the focus that I've struggled with at different times in my life for different reasons can relate to. And one of the things that's interesting, so as I'm trying to get myself combining the programs that I've come up with, because I would say the programs, and what I'm getting at is the psychology piece to understand yourself and your behaviors so you can have longevity and more understanding of yourself to end the cycle of self-sabotage. However, and that would be the root any addiction, because it's linked to low self-worth, and that changes at different times in our lives. So there was a period of my life for a long time where, those eating disorders and the distorted images or the things around food or my appearance or my weight were completely gone. And for that time, it was healed. Okay, well, it was re-triggered. Go back to now heal on a deeper level and have an understanding. However, to follow a regimented system and plan and reset the dopamine with plain, that's difficult. Okay, my triggers, right? And then understanding that, and then will be the relation to somebody else. And if you fall off this plan, what do you do and how do you respond? So it's the self-talk after you don't follow, right, this set program. So something happens, you go to an event, or you're triggered by, let's say, family members or not, and right, you go to the addiction of food or friends or an experience, or you just want to have, and then you just want to go out for the night, and now it's not this regimented system. What's the talk you have around that? Is it, I'm a loser, I'm a failure, blah, blah, blah? Or is it something now you're going to try to make up for in a different way? So an example of this. So last night and yesterday being, okay, so if it's New Year's and the opportunity to eat, I like giving myself the time off because it's a different thing. And then now I'm going to go back to a regimented system. And I'm trying this discipline thing because of the new year. I'm I'm going to try this discipline part. I do analyze my psychology in that piece, but that's how I relate it to, help with this part of the program, and like experiment on myself. But a big thing was yesterday. So I ate way over 5,000 calories when I added that up. So I don't purge. So people in my lifetime, there's been times in my life that I've had experiences where I have, but my disordered eating, which is a lot of people don't understand, they have an eating disorder when you have the obsession with your weight or your appearance. So you can ironically have that even if you're on a good system, but if you were to fall off that system and you wouldn't have the base of that, how would you fall apart? So that's where I'm trying to get at, the psychology piece in relation to how it affects your life, because it's linked to your self-worth based on your appearance. So when's the last time you ate something and didn't think about how it affected your weight? Well, that's distorted thinking, right? Because it's blocking in myself and where I'm at in my life. It's blocking me from what? What's the underlying issues? Well, unhealed, real, deeper, meaningful connections with people, friendships, stuff like that. Like that's a relationship. Like it's a blockage for me because it's so linked to that. Okay, well, I have to heal. So I understand that's part of the process. So it's like, that's what's the deeper psychology under that. And one of the things is I went and had all these calories, but I prepared myself. Okay, I went, right. Okay, well, what's good the next day? What will be the crash? You feel not as good. Whew, I'm like, got alien baby, right? And then the link to self-worth. I feel gross, If you're a person who has, and so now right now in the world, there's so much around this fasting thing, and it does have health benefits, of course it does, and then there's spiritual beliefs behind those things. Different people do it for different reasons. However, if you have an underlying eating issue with the obsession with your body, and you've had an issue with eating disorders, do not fast unless you're ready to be triggered. And that's an irony, which brings me back to how I started and got into this in the first place, because I was fine for a long time. And then when the opportunity presented itself, so I come from the world of vanity before my career. And then I gave that up for a while, and I was saying, so what's distracting you? If I'm serving other people first, so serving a husband first, serving the kids first, serving everyone else. Okay, now that's gone away. What's the attention back on myself? Ooh, spun me out. brings me back to almost childlike behavior, and that's the cycle of trauma. So we'd have to understand in our lives, depending on what different people have gone through, that is how our brains work in timelines. It just depends for certain people, their experiences. And that's what you would, to get yourself out of a loop. Some people don't even realize they've been stuck in the same loop of setting the same goals, New Year's resolutions. If every year you're setting the same New Year's resolution to get in shape or get fit or get healthy or a new body or something like that, you can't acknowledge you got a problem, you're stuck in a loop, you haven't got to the root of what's underlying. The real thing you should be doing first is uncovering why the obsession with that and you haven't achieved those goals, or you keep setting the same ones over and over again, because that is a clear indication something's wrong. That's not normal. But we think those things are normal. Like we think they are. We're actually meant to master health, wealth, and relationships in all the categories in a loop continuously, and we never stop learning. And any person who thinks they just know everything or whatever, there's too much to learn. It's humanly impossible. So to master yourself in all of those areas, most people don't even realize that they're stuck. And that's the relevance of the universe, though. People that are like the fear of God almost put in you, because it's elements from outside of our sources, outside of our control, that came in and really shook up your life. So people that have right, and I myself have to be a person many times in my life, the universe comes and really kicked me down. That's a different perspective and understanding to go into that depth. And not suppress, right? Because you can't control what is done to you, but you have to try to understand it. Okay, well, how do you get a base in safety? And people that, so I guess on the other side, because I'm speaking from the side of the mentally ill, the abused, the misunderstood. Okay, the ones that have been on the side of that privilege of being able to have that solid in that base. Well, have you had somebody really come in and kick you down and kick you in the face when you're in your little base? Because that would change your psychology. And then maybe you would understand your patients a little bit more. That's a side note. I'm still angry. Because that is when we don't understand that base. So I say I was triggered, ironically, by being put on the forefront of looking and having my body judged again. And then I look back at my videos. So I had to stop even helping until I got more help on myself, because I'm watching a person I didn't see at the time who was still so thin, who was thinking she's so, I wasn't seeing what I was the psychologies, because we feel different. So how you feel in your body. And right now there's so many people who have, it's like this identity crisis, and they don't know themselves and whatever else. So I can say I feel different spirits at different times. I feel myself being different times, my shape, my chin, what's going on? So it's an identity crisis. Well, I feel like the spirit of too many men. I'm a woman. I'm born in a woman's body. I want to be a woman. I'm triggered by other things that brings up spirit. That's an imbalance for myself. I don't like it, but I feel different things. So I can watch the videos and go, that doesn't make sense. That's not a match. But the journey of the soul and the self, well, that's your base of something to get your grounding. But if you weren't taught that's the self-love component. What are you grounding? What are you trying to go to? That can be confusing and tough. So myself, I can say, and I will never ever try to make anyone believe anything, but I've never really talked about, I'm starting to more, but I've always, my entire life, I've always followed a God, voices, beliefs. I've always had that. But that's led me into pain. So it's and then the frustrations. But then the communications and to try to understand, right? Because people would go, well, and then to the conversation to be angry with, because it's well, this doesn't make sense. And why did I follow this path? Well, it's self. That's because the only thing in the world we all share, everything in the world, all of us, is our pain. So if it's always about somebody else, have you ever been around people that it's always about them and they take up all the space and the energy? That will make somebody else ill when you don't get a voice. It's ironically why I became such a good speaker behind the camera, speaking to myself, because why are so many people on social media, who are they really talking to? Themselves. So be aware of it, but also be aware of your audience. Because everything we say, that we're sharing messages back and forth in communication, so there's a responsibility as well to your audience in those things. That's a different belief and understanding, but that spun me out when I went back into almost the world of vanity and the self-analyzing. Then I realized, oh, I'm maybe not that well right now. And so I would say the treat, so it was like, the way I ate yesterday, I needed all these calories today to fast. No, actually. A person with a sane brain, or not in the process that I'm in, being so unwell, you could do that. I'm not that. Because that restriction then, right, it's better, and that's where you have to let go of that hold with the body, because I'm not shallow to the world. I would never in a million years ever, and I never have, shame somebody else's body or ever teach anyone or shame like that, no. Because I understand every body holds energy different. Ironically, except for mine. And that's the process that I'm trying to learn. That's my insecurity. So that's why I try to show myself in different ways, and then you release it when we're in why and safety. That's a healing process. So that's why if you think invite, and that's the base of the programs and the playfulness of it with the different characters or multiple personalities, because we all have them. What degree? Why? Get to know them. But I'd highly recommend, so if you've been a person who's struggled with those programs or being able to stick to a regimen or any of those things, the first is the psychology piece that you need to understand, and you have to, like, the process for going and letting go of the appearance part, which is challenging. And it is hard because, you do deal with people, and I have personally that are really crappy to you when you're not a certain way, or they think, so if I'm not pretty enough, I'm not good enough for you anymore. Interesting. I just wanted to say a quick thank you, and I have a gift for you. A thank you because you could have chosen to spend your time anywhere else. I applaud you for the fact that you're taking responsibility for your life and watching these videos for mindset transformation, which is amazing. So keep going, good job. But you could have spent your time anywhere watching any other videos. So I genuinely want to say thank you. And